I'm going to give a quick tour of my subinkiverse, as Molly calls it. Subinkiverse because the kind of fish I have are called subunkins. So Molly calls this my subinkiverse. Just to give you some context, there's the chicken house, there's the screen porch, and there's the house with the living room window. We're across the backyard here in the corner of the yard. And we start out with this upper level. So this is where I sit and drink my cocktails. And you can see there's my Manhattan there right now. These are all ferns, mostly that I've harvested from this back canyon behind our house here. So most of these plants are found plants that are transported. We have this little area here. And we start with the top. Here's the fountain, and we have a whole bunch of different hoses. We have two hoses coming from two different pumps, and then we also have a whole bunch of hoses and wires that come from the rain gutters of the house and feed into this. So this, for example, comes from a rain barrel. So I can put in water from the rain barrel when I need to refill the levels. This is a planting area I just built this weekend. Anyhow, this is the upper pond. So we got the waterfall there. Here's the upper pond with the bridge and a lot of ferns, my herb garden, and so on. We have a lot of ferns and some aquatic plants. As you can see, I have some green nylon plastic mesh in there, defensive for the fish. And I also have flagstones propped up on rocks to create hiding places for the fishes. I even have an overturned shopping basket down there with holes cut in the side that the fish can hide from predators in. There is a frog named Jeremy who lives right in this hole down here. You can't see him right now, but Jeremy comes out every single night like clockwork and sits on that rock with his head out of water, and he makes noises that go "Burp, burp." So going down, so this is the larger view from down the hill. It's been raining all day and it's late in the day, so it's nice atmospheric weather right now, kind of Portlandy in fact. This is the neighbor's property wall. So you see we have several levels going down here. That is the old play deck I built for the children a couple of years ago that I've started harvesting parts for. You can see how there's lichen on the handrails. I took all the intermediate rails out and I made these little Japanese roofs for to cover up the dam wall. So stepping down, we're going down into the middle, actually level 2 of 4. So this is the other side of that dam wall, where we have water flowing out of there into that vase and popping down with a bunch of ferns and plants. That's forsythia. This is a azalea, rhododendrons, and lots of ferns. This is my Zen garden with gravel and stones. It's a little bit unkempt right now because I've been working a lot on the engineering and mechanics. One interesting thing about this, what got this whole thing started, is that this used to be completely overgrown with bamboo back here. And I was poking around in the bamboo and I found that there was like the rotted empty hole where a dead tree root was. I started digging in it and I found that this is where the guys who built this house in 1948, they buried all their extra foundation stones. They had extras, and so they buried them down here. And I found about 60 of these big granite stones here that were all buried in this hole right in this area. So this area I didn't even need to excavate. Just when I started pulling out all the stones, this big area made itself incarnate. And so every stone you see in this area is left over from a foundation stone from when they built our house. There's got to be 60, 70, 100 of them, who knows. Here's a nice little dogwood tree. One thing I'm trying to do is populate this garden all with native plants that are endemic to this area. So anyways, there is the waterfall. Then there's this creek that runs down with a little standing pool right there. And then it goes down, 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 down into this lower pool here. There's my pump and filter. All that stuff is hidden down there. Here's a little bench. Funny thing about these benches, when they built the High Museum of Atlanta, which was built by famous architect Renzo Piano, I worked next door to the museum at that time, and I saw that there were all these extra leftover parts that were steps and paving stones in the museum that they weren't using, and so I asked the site manager if I could have them, and he said yes. So a lot of the things I use for furnishing this garden, including that and the benches, which I'll show you in a minute, those are all leftovers from the Renzo Piano High Museum in Atlanta. Anyhow, we have the lower pond here. We have a little crossing here. So in that upper pond, I've got two kind of medium-large shubunkin fish and a frog. In this lower pond here, I've had for about a week or two 6 young shubunkin fish, but I'm starting to be convinced that they have been eaten by the frog because I haven't seen any of them in a while here. So after the rain, when it overflows, it goes down here and down, 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 down. Here's my irises. It goes down into this wetland. There's wetland number 1 here. And then another pond waterfall here, and this is wetland number 2 here. And then it drains into this larger canyon I have behind my house. So this whole wetland processes all the rainwater runoff. Down here is my lower fern garden. Here's the children's play structure, and there's the house behind it. And down here we have a fern garden, again with another one of those Renzo Piano benches. And there's ferns and hostas. This is a very, very shady, moist garden down here. It's got tree coverage of it, so it's always shady all the time. And back up to, this is my lower yard, which when we bought this house, this yard was so covered we didn't know this was here until we started digging out all the leaves. Then we found we had this whole beautiful lower yard which looks over this canyon. Let me remind you of the canyon. I might have showed you this before, but I love my canyon. That I own this canyon all the way across to the same level that I'm at over here. Whenever it rains, there's a river down there, and it's raining today, so there's a little bit of a river that you can't really see from this distance. Coming back up to the house, I've got this other area over here, which is my social fire pit area. These again are 2 more benches that are made out of steps from the stairwell of the High Museum. And I've got a gas fire pit that I use right here. Kind of like when you stay at a ritzy hotel and they have one of those cocktail fire pits. It's modeled after that. Then we are back to the top. You'll notice I'm working on this all the time, so there's always construction debris and trash and boxes and stuff like this around wherever you go, because half of my enjoyment of this subinkiverse is subunking. I mean, building it. So I'm going to grab my cocktail, and there's a bug on the end of my cocktail right there. See the bug? Okay. So that's my subinkiverse. Hope you enjoy it.